Mazikeen, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 9 of Lucifer. So, yeah, Mazikeen has been, for lack of a better word, fired by Lucifer because of her interferences. The doctor is no longer taking sexual favors as payment from Lucifer. And the Palmetto case is quote unquote solved, but in reality, there's a lot more to this that has not yet been, I wouldn't say revealed, because we got quite a bit of reveal in the last episode, but there's a lot that hasn't been like publicly revealed and especially revealed to our main characters. So a lot of shit to still go. But at least Lucifer now knows that his brother was involved with his doctor, his psychiatrist, and getting everything like fuck it with that way. So, yeah. A lot of big revelations last episode. It felt like a really big episode in a lot of ways. But they also had to throw in the entire story of the week thing, the case of the week, which there's some points where it almost feels unnecessary. Like, you throw in this case that the character has to take care of, but it's sometimes in an episode where the main story stuff, the stuff that's like, actually important, is kind of cut back because of it. You know what I mean? It's one of those cases where they could have given that time to the main stuff and it would have been better because of it. The case of the week felt like a quota that had to be made rather than a natural integration of something. And they tried to make it feel natural, like, oh, this is going to be about another psychiatrist and stuff. But it felt completely out of place to include that in that episode. And I feel like this is the kind of thing, and I hate to say this, but I feel like this is the kind of thing a lot of Hell of a Boss fans want. While we're talking about, like, relations to hell and shit, I guess this is kind of relevant, but it's that argument that a lot of Hell of a Boss fans make that, oh, the show veered away from its purpose. It's supposed to focus on the company of Imp doing their job and everything, and it's not focusing on that. It's like, this is what these people want. Because if they forced in, like, Imp doing their job every episode, with the character developments and important story stuff that they want to get to, it would feel muddled. It would feel muddled and forced and just not good. I know that that's not the most descriptive, but it's accurate. It would be not good. It would hurt the overall quality of the episode and episodes. But that's what I feel like a lot of Hell of a Boss fans kind of are wanting here. Like, lower quality episodes just for the sake of sticking to the status quo. Which, as I've argued before, isn't even the thing. Like, that's not even what Hell of a Boss was clearly ever meant to be. So it's ridiculous conceptually. But then you have just the other aspects of it. And you have to take those into account too. Now, this is obviously a bit of a different scenario and a different kind of show, different length of show. different release schedule and everything. And I don't know if the having to have this case of the week thing is a mandate by the companies, by the studios and whatnot. That's the word I was looking for. Companies. I don't know if that was like a mandate by the studios. It's like, oh, you have to stick to this formula, this format for each episode. But there's just occasions where it's like they really need to focus more on the main story and, you know, just not on these case of the week things. It's like the cases can be fun sometimes, but other times they just get in the way, and it's like it's better if they're not always there. And now this is going to be a more wild comparison, but let's fucking compare this to My Little Pony. I know you're here for Lucifer solving murders in LA, not talk about candy colored equines. But hear me out. In the early seasons, mostly season one, but a little bit of season two and stuff of My Little Pony, there's this thing that happens where Twilight has to write letters back to Princess Celestia, telling her what she learned. And eventually, it's made clear that the fact that Twilight has to write these letters pretty much every time is kind of getting in the way. It's kind of like forcing these lessons that don't feel natural or believable. And it causes some problems. So eventually that entire idea is kind of scrapped. And it's like actually scrapped in the show too. Where they're told it's like you don't need to constantly hit a deadline. You don't need to constantly write these letters to me. Just experience the lessons. And that's kind of relatable here in a weird way. They don't need to do all these case of the week things for us to connect with the characters or with this or with the city of LA or anything like that. We don't need all of this to get into the show. The main story can carry itself. We should just let that take us on the journey. I've said before, and I'll say again, I'm not against episodic shows. And I'm not against shows that combine an episodic nature with an ongoing serialized story. But it has to be done right. It has to be done in a way where both parts of it connect properly. And if last episode is anything to go off of, it's clear that that's not happening here. You're taking away from the main story when you do it in the way that it was done. By forcing these case of the weeks where they don't belong, it just feels off and hurts the main story stuff that is trying to be gotten across. And this is something I've been thinking about over this past week. So I apologize if this seems like it came out of nowhere. I really started thinking about it after the last episode, and it's just something that I feel like hopefully needs to be addressed in, if not this season, then the next season. Because this can hurt the overall main story and its presentation. And excuse me, we don't want that. Because honestly, for me at least, that's the biggest draw right now. I'm more interested in that than any of the like little side story stuff. And I don't know, maybe more people want to see the other stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the fandom for this show is like. but but hopefully I just end up not losing interest in this. And I think the only way it would make me do so is if it just continues to be this notable and, poorly handled with this entire thing. Excuse me. As long as it starts to improve and starts to get better, then it should be fine. But I guess we'll see. It's about the best I can say here. So with this episode included, we have 5 more episodes left of the season. And we're getting to the point where it's like, I'm wondering if I should start like doubling up on episodes or not. The problem is they're already like 40 minutes long, and it's like, ugh. It's just, long shows sometimes take it out of you, 40-minute, hour-long shows take it out of you a lot more than half that. 20-minute to 30-minute shows. Unless they're like really engaging, like exceptionally engaging. And this is like not quite to that level for me. Like an MCU show would be better at that, I would say. Or The Last of Us was better with that. But with this series, it's just like, it's really good for the most part, but it's not quite on that level. Oh my, excuse me. So yeah, I'm definitely curious as to where this is going to go, though, and I'm hoping that it starts getting more like focused at the points it needs to be focused at, and only doing the case of the week stuff when it's needed. I don't know if I have really a lot of hope for that, but that's the desire, at least. So yeah, I think that's kind of what we're gonna go with here in terms of moving forward. we might start doing double episodes, but I'm definitely gonna be like hoping it like improves here, and I feel like that's going to make a big impact on how we finish out this season, and on top of that, what we do when it comes to season 2. If anything, we might just have to take a notable break in between. Yeah. And it's weird. I want to make clear here. I'm not necessarily getting burnt out. I want to make that distinction. It's not really a burnt out situation here. It's that I guess you could maybe say I just thought too hard about the last episode. And doing so has made me like notice an issue that had been there, but hadn't really like been something I noticed until now. And for a series that's doing this well, I do want to I want to note I want to specify here that while it does have this issue, I still am enjoying the show overall. But this issue is an issue, and I feel it needs to be addressed here. And best case scenario at this point, it just starts to improve. Because if it improves, if it gets a good balance with that stuff, all is good. All is good. And hopefully that's where it ends up going. Either way, we're going to get this started. But before we do, I want to remind you that we have a bunch of other shows we react to on the channel. 2 reaction series every day of the week, Monday through Friday, as well as YouTube stuff on Monday. On Wednesdays, we have been live streaming Momodora Moonlit Farewell, but just yesterday I actually finished that up. I have not updated this banner yet on the screen. But we are going to be moving into PS5 stuff with Spider-Man 2 starting next week. We also do movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. So those are recorded during the week, but they're posted during the weekends. So look forward to those as well. And then there's various other things that occasionally pop up on the channel, like AMVs and countdown lists and so on and so forth. So all of that being said, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. And for now, let's get this going. I should say. I almost was going to do the sign off like at the end of the video. No, let's get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. Excuse me. So, all of that being said, and yawned, thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this episode kind of perfectly demonstrates to you what I was talking about in the pre-thoughts. About these episodes really needing to focus on either the main story or the case of the week stuff. Because here's the thing. Both sides of this episode were exceptionally fascinating. But I feel that both sides did not get the attention and time that they deserved. The stuff with Father Frank and Connor and everything, I feel needed more time to flesh it out. It felt like it was kind of rushed through, and part of that is because some of the episode was taken up by the main plot-related stuff. And the stuff with the main plot, of course, is exceptionally interesting, exceptionally just getting more and more intense and all, but I feel like there's not enough of it in each episode to really justify it taking away from the case of the week stuff. There's not enough of it that makes it, worth it. It doesn't feel like it gets a chance to breathe, a chance to really, be focused on. And the problem is, part of it's because most of the episode, 75% of it, I would say, is focused on the case of the week. The actual main plot only gets 25% of the episode. Now, of course, that might change. The final episode or 2 of this season might focus almost entirely on the main plot stuff. But the fact is, this episode showcases why this specific combination isn't working. Both sides could have been amazing, but are taken away from by having to share the spotlight. The stuff with Father Frank and everything could have been phenomenally done, but it felt rushed. And the stuff with the main story didn't have enough time to actually shine in the episode. And it's like it's a weird feeling because again, this it's not bad. Nothing about this is bad. It's just poorly handled. And I feel like that's the problem when you're trying to do a show that has an ongoing major narrative, but is also a case of the week show. Trying to do both at once is really difficult to pull off. You really have to work to make them blend extremely well. And I would say almost nothing has gotten that right from my experience. There's like very, very, very few shows that have actually succeeded in getting that balance right. And this just isn't one of them. It's not blending as well as it needs to be. Now, if this were an hour long show, like not 40 minutes, like an hour, like if it were just released on streaming and it was actually like each episode was like an hour, then yeah, it probably could handle the blending of the two sides a little better. 20 extra minutes of runtime can do wonders for you there. But the fact is, this was a televised show. It was, 40 minutes, not counting commercials. Well, it was an hour when you count commercials. It was 40 minutes otherwise. You know what I mean. I think I worded that right. Anyway, I feel like it just really needed to be done better. But like I said, both halves of this episode, both sides to it, were great. The stuff with the father and Connor and everything, and through this, we're continuing to see Lucifer gaining this humanity and really starting to care and everything. It's great to see. It's pretty awesome, in fact, seeing him like actually connect with this priest and kind of become friends with him to the point where he becomes like violently enraged when he dies. It's like I was being serious when I was saying at the end there, like his humanity was showing. He was being exceptionally human right there. Those emotions, those intense, mixed, negative emotions he was going through are entirely human. A lot of people like to look down on negative emotions and just act like, oh, this is like a bad thing that you should try to work past. But negative emotions are natural. There's something we all go through, and we should not be trying to stop them. It's actually unhealthy to stop negative emotion. You need to experience it. You need to experience fear and sorrow and pain and anger. You need to experience this all because it helps you grow. It helps you understand more about yourself and about how people matter to you and why they matter to you. It's a really big deal. And I feel like too many people try to hide these kinds of emotions. And it's a mistake. So, yeah, just you need to understand that negative emotions aren't actually a bad thing for your life. They actually, in a lot of cases, most cases, are necessary for a healthy life to be able to properly express your emotions. And that goes for everyone too. Like, guys need to learn to properly express their emotions and stop, like, pushing them back like so much of media has told us throughout the years. And women and NBs as well. They need to properly express their emotions too. It's just a thing that everyone needs to do. And even if that means screaming in anger, even if that means punching something, even if it means laying in bed and crying for hours and hours, expressing your emotions is not only healthy but necessary and natural. So I actually have no issue with what Lucifer did there, but I also like that he was able to understand that he did need to be talked down there. Because obviously it's not right to like kill a man out of anger. There's a lot of issues with that. Even if the dude did deserve it. Doyle. Yeah, it's like there are better ways to handle that, and killing out of anger is not a good thing for multiple reasons. It's okay to express your emotions, but you cannot let them control you. If you let your emotions, especially anger, control you, it can very much lead you down a very dangerous, unhealthy path, and you don't want that. So, yeah. And then on top of it, we now know that Amenadude is pulling the strings behind this main story stuff with Asshole McGee, which is not too much of a surprise, but it definitely answers like the entire thing I was talking about before with him being revived, and it's like, does he know that the guy he revived was a bad guy? It's like, yes, he does. He very actively knows. And that's why he revived him. He revived him specifically to do bad shit. And it's really wild, too. Like, Amenadude literally put a hit out on Lucifer. Literally hired this guy. Hired, quote unquote, because technically he's threatening him. But I'm gonna say hired for sake of ease. He hired him to murder someone. He's a hitman now for an angel. Does Amenadude not see the issue with this? Does he not understand that what he's doing is so exceptionally bad? Like, no matter how you look at it, there is nothing that makes this okay. You can't say, oh, it's because he's the devil, he's Lucifer, he's his brother, it's okay. It's just a prank, brah. No, that's not a valid argument here. Like, this dude is an angel. Literally an angel. You can't be putting a hit out on someone. Ugh. No matter if it's Lucifer or not. It's just wild. It's insane. Honestly. And also, I want to really quick talk about, I'm really disappointed that they seem to be walking back on the entire maze thing. Because it's like, oh, they made this big deal out of the fact that Lucifer was, basically the equivalent of firing Maze. And I had the question about what happened now last time. It's like, okay, so after last episode, I'm like, what happens now? Does she just go back to hell? Apparently the answer is no. But nothing really happens that changes anything. She's not going back to hell. She remains as the bartender. She's still there and still, like, having input. What was the point? What was the point of Lucifer getting, like, upset at her and quote unquote firing her if literally nothing happens? Literally nothing came of it. What was the point? That entire plot point means literally nothing. Because it just, they didn't do anything with it. It would have been better if, like, Maze was, like, just completely gone. Not even explaining if she went back to hell or not, but she was completely gone until, like, the end of the season or something. That would have made more sense. That would have been a bigger impact. Instead, literally nothing changes. Except that he's not talking to her like a child. Yay? And even he breaks that. He even breaks that, like, super easily. It's like, what the fuck? What the actual fuck was the point to introducing that plot point if you're not going to do anything with it? It felt like such a big deal. Hell, it was even in the recap. And they didn't do anything with it. Complete waste of time. It's just, I don't know if, again, it's because of not having the time to, like, focus on stuff like that because of the case of the week bullshit. I don't know if that's connected to that too, but it's just, geez, it's not well done. And it's just, it's really disappointing. And it sucks when the episode otherwise is good and it has problems like this still. So, yeah. Like I've been saying, it's like the episode was really good. There's a lot of great stuff between both parts of the story. But the way it was organized just took too much out of both sides of the story and just made it not work. It has issues, and it causes things to just need to be, figured out here. Because at this point, I'm just kind of disappointed. And I really hope it picks up with these last 4 episodes. Because I'm hoping for more than this. And I'm hoping that it actually starts to, either focus on the main story and give us the time for that it deserves, or something to balance it out better. Because the way it's balanced right now just is not in any way, shape, or form working. But we'll see how it goes. Like I said, we got 4 episodes left. I don't know how it's going to end up going. I might end up doing like 2 a week for the next 2. But it's like, that's all going to depend on how I'm feeling once we get to that point next week. So, yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. And also, just as a reminder, we have plenty of other shows on the channel to check out. We do 2 series reactions every day, Monday through Friday. On Mondays, we also do YouTube reactions. And on Wednesdays, we have been doing gaming content. We have been streaming through Momodora Moonlit Farewell, blah. But just yesterday, we actually finished that. So I haven't changed the banner on the screen here yet, but we're going to be moving on to Spider-Man 2, and that might be actually starting to get uploaded multiple days a week, um, but still like recorded on Wednesdays. I don't know exactly how we're going to do it yet, but I will make a video letting you know probably this next Monday. We also do movie reactions on Saturdays and Sundays, though they are pre recorded during the week. And we have other videos occasionally appear on the channel too, such as AMVs, countdown lists, and so on and so forth. But yeah, so tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Lucifer? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.